How to get students engaged? I think that's a centuries-old question when it comes to teaching. I would say that one of the first things I did was I created electronic homework. So this is pre-lab work. It kind of forces the students to confront the lab experiment before they've walked into lab. And you know, the TAs definitely saw an improvement in what the students understood when they were walking in the door. So that's one of the first things that I did to engage students. One of the other things, and this is a project that I really love working on, is working with the professors here to come up with experiments that come out of their research. And so far we've got an experiment that's called Mysteries of Water. And basically what the students do is they create snow, they pressurize it with propane, and then they basically make what we call a propane clathrate. Well, this thing comes out and it looks like a chunk of ice, but it lights on fire. Well, why is that? What's going on? And you know, it's a very interesting thing for the students to deal with. And these propane clathrates have a huge amount of interest in terms of how can we store propane? Well, maybe we could put them in these clathrate structures and these water structures and make them you know, not so volatile and easier to transport. So there's a lot of interest in that. And then one of the experiments that we were working on this past year had to do with a cancer treatment for melanoma. The students actually got to synthesize these copper dithiocarbamate complexes, and they learned all about, you know, the different studies that had been done with these complexes that had been done in Pat Farmer's lab here. And I really think the students found it interesting. A lot of students are biology majors and they want to go to med school. So to see something like this is really engaging. And it was actually a snapshot into a PhD student's thesis. So they got to take a look at 3 different reactions which created this compound that they thought was active in killing the cancer cells. And they really enjoyed the process, and they had to do this big, huge write-up at the end and synthesize all this knowledge that had been given to them. So, you know, creating these experiments is something that I really find interesting, and I find that it puts the chemistry in context for the students. And if they want to do research, here's a snapshot of what it's like to do chemistry research. So that's another way I engage students. The final way that I've been working on is creating these video clips in which the students come up with the skits themselves. They come up with different looks at techniques, and they go through, and I've told them to be kind of humorous. So these are sort of in a YouTube style, and the students get to master a particular area, and then they get to basically be the star of a video. And what I hope to do is incorporate these videos into the lab manual so that students can see other students working with the equipment in lab and talking about the techniques. And then maybe somewhere in there with the pre-lab questions that are electronic, we can build in questions that make them refer back to these videos. So the students love being part of this, so they're engaged. And then I think it helps for the next students to actually see, okay, here's a peer of mine, and they're working with this. This is somebody just like me. So it kind of brings it closer to home.